We are all friends of the British, however much we may criticize the British government and system in India. This is a quote taken from a letter written by Mahatma Gandhi to the Viceroy of India, Archibald Wavell, during the time of Indian independence in 1942. Gandhi's use of friend to describe the British rulers of India, especially during a time when Indian protesters using a form of peaceful protest known as Satyagraha were being beaten down by British enforcement as they attempted to gain independence, is crucial to the Indian-British relationship, and when friend is coupled with criticism, the quote shows how even though the Indian and British peoples don't always see eye to eye, they remain friendly and have a strong relationship with each other. The strong relationship between the two peoples has continued to today, as the British and Indian peoples have taken part in many agreements recently. These agreements have helped both countries educationally, socially, defensively, scientifically, and primarily economically. Because of the two countries' strong relationship, I ask the question, in what ways has India's use of Satyagraha as peaceful protest while gaining independence contributed to their current, positive, post-colonial economic relationship with Great Britain? To first answer this question, I looked at the countries the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Zimbabwe, who both used violent means in order to gain independence from their colonial rulers, and, as a lingering effect on that violence, have struggled to obtain positive relations with their respective colonizer. In 1960, after many rioting campaigns, the Democratic Republic of the Congo gained independence from the Belgians after decades of Belgian colonial rule. 50 years later, the King of Belgium was invited to a celebration of independence by the President of the DRC, Joseph Kabila. At a feast for the celebration, a picture was taken of the two, where they were not sitting next to each other, and both of them seemed to be disregarding each other, and the King of Belgium almost appeared to not want to be in the DRC. The image of the two not looking at each other shows how both countries, and especially the Belgians, do not want to have any interactions with the other, and only want to come together when necessary. A country who has poorer relations with their colonizer than even the DRC is Zimbabwe, who used violence while gaining autonomy like the DRC. Even today, the president of Zimbabwe, Joseph Mugabe, permits the black population of the country to forcibly take over white-owned farms and even kill the farmers. These farmers are the descendants of the original British colonizers, and the fact that Mugabe is permitting the black people of the area to kill the white farmers and take their land shows the amount of resentment towards the previous colonial power. On top of murdering white farmers, Mugabe is attacking British interests, and according to a report by the Africa Report, Mugabe crushed a political party because they were believed to be sponsored by the British. The fact that the British would sponsor someone in order to hopefully get Mugabe out of office, and the fact that Mugabe would crush up that party just shows how much distrust and hatred occurs between the two parties. Finally, recently at a UN meeting, Mugabe said she, Zimbabwe, has become a victim of the evil machinations of Western countries who continue to apply unilateral and illegal sanctions as a foreign policy tool to achieve short-term political objectives. The use of evil machinations and illegal sanctions shows how much Zimbabwe disagrees with the British and the power world that they are in, because Mugabe feels that the West is purposely trying to detriment his people and country from improving their standards. Mugabe's distrust of the Western world stems from Zimbabwe's violent independence and is an example of how much violence impairs a country's future. On the other hand, India used Satyagraha as a form of peaceful protest while gaining independence, and in comparison, things have gone much better for them. One example of India's strong relationship with the British was shown when in 2004, they both agreed to the Strategic Partnership Plan, which helped improve each country's defenses, sciences, and primarily improve the amount of trading and investing in each country. According to Forbes, India is the third largest investor in the UK, and the UK is the third largest investor in India since 2004. Not only that, but in 2011, the UK was importing $4.1 billion in Indian products and exporting $3.3 billion in exports to India. But recently, according to the World Bank, both those figures have nearly doubled to $6.2 billion in exports and $7.4 billion in imports. Also, after independence, the Indian people agreed to become part of the British Commonwealth, which is almost like a club for previous colonies of the empire. By joining the Commonwealth, the Indian government can work in closer proximity with the British and its other previous colonies that agreed to join, like for better trade. Meanwhile, the Zimbabweans never joined the Commonwealth and lack the benefits that come from being a part of the Commonwealth brings. Finally, without the close ties that these two countries have, pictures such as the one between David Cameron and Narendra Modi at the G20 summit in Brisbane would not exist, and India's relations with the British would be more like Zimbabwe's. The fact that the picture of the two leaders was taken is a testament to the relationship between the two countries that stemmed from India's use of Satyagraha. Because of the benefits that the Indians gained from using Satyagraha to gain autonomy, and because of the lack of benefits found to countries that have used violent methods for gaining independence, I feel that peaceful protest did play a large part in the Indian peoples having a strong relationship with the British and helped to strengthen their economy. The Zimbabwean and Congolese economies, meanwhile, are dragging far behind, with both countries in the bottom 25 countries for GDP per capita, meaning that there's very little wealth for anyone in the country, and everyone is struggling to get by. Below GDP per capita is making it more difficult for the countries to improve their situation. India, meanwhile, has a higher GDP, and even though the wealth is not distributed evenly, it is much easier for people of India to improve their economic situation if they live in a slum. Also, India's stronger economy helps to bring in a large amount of modernization, which makes living standards and health for the people much better. This is a picture of the capital city of DRC, Kinshasa, which is on top, and Mumbai in India, which is on the bottom. These two city skylines differ much because of how India can afford to modernize its cities, while the DRC greatly struggles to and can only have a say in school. Also, peaceful protest has yielded positive results for other countries such as Ghana. Today, both Ghana and India have much larger GDP than Zimbabwe and the DRC. With India having a GDP of $1.877 trillion, Ghana having a GDP of $48.14 billion, the DRC having a GDP of $32.69 billion, and Zimbabwe having a GDP of $13.49 billion. This gap between the GDPs of the peaceful and violent countries helps to reinforce the fact that peaceful protest helps improve countries' economies post-independence. Therefore, I believe that peaceful protest helped out a lot in the continuously strong relationship between the and the UK. It has also created the strong economy that India has today post-independence.